Join me in welcoming my good friend and my brother in Christ, Willie J. Willie, I'm so glad to have you here with us as we talk
Man,
about Never Stop Winning 2.0. Keep on winning your way. So glad
yeah.
to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me, pal. I appreciate it, brother. We're excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, with the doctor's appointment and everything, I decided I'm just going to do my live that I do every day. I'm just going to do it with you. So we want to talk about Never Stop Winning and anything else that comes up because people need their win. And we've got some stuff that we can do to help people win. But the
Yeah,
first thing you have to do is understanding, what does it mean to win?
yeah.
Uh, I know what I think about it, but rather than me telling people what you think about it, how about if you tell us what does it mean to keep on winning your way? What does that mean to you?
Keep on winning your winning. First of all, when we say winning, that word winning, we think of never stop growing, right? Something that we conveyed in the first volume, which went very well, empowered a lot of people. And that's essentially about growth and growing with the flow and evolution spiritually, mentally that never ends, always being willing to learn and, adapt to the climates of life. And there are many climates in life. And it's just that courage and that, relentless pursuit of becoming your best version in God in the most personal and intimate way when I say that, right?
So many people struggle with the who am I, what is my best, those kind of things. Give us a really basic, like the ABCs of how do you know who you are and what is you showing up as your best? What does that really mean?
That's a great question. Um, to me, that means always being courageous in the aspect of being who you're meant to be. Being you is enough. And we give that secret sauce away in both volumes, and especially 2.0. We level up with that and that self-discovery and self-mastery that comes through kingdom introspection is something that I like to call it sometimes, and just being willing to look into that inner space, right? We're living in a world where people are in pursuit of so many things, right? From the teens, we were blessed to do a teen summit, and it was packed out, and from 6th to 12th graders, and these are some of the nuances that I presented to them, and what I learned, Steve, was this, man. Winning is really it's subjective. It's a subjective word, but it's universal. You know what I mean? And if you're growing, you're winning. If you're growing to something better, if you're morphing into a better version of you, you're winning. And winning to me is um it's subjective, and you have to really know who you are. There's this identity virus that's going on in society right now, man. We had COVID-19 in 2020, right? But I think one of the most hideous, most horrific, and melancholy, I'm trying to pulling out all the words. Oh man, one of the saddest viruses, the most impactful virus, the most dangerous is the identity virus, meaning, you know, being afraid to be who you are in the most authentic way. The way God created you is the way that we were designed to be. And when you go against the grain of creation, right, you find yourself developing multiple characters of individual that
We may have just lost Willie, but we'll just keep talking here for a minute until he comes back in. Willie, if you can hear me, your screen went black and I can't see you right now. So either mine is crashed out or yours is, but let's keep going. I mean, to never stop winning is so important. It is absolutely mandatory that we understand you were built to win. You were meant to win at the game, at the race of your life. When you come to the end of
Yes,
your
sorry about that,
life,
Steve. Can you
There we
hear me?
go. Now we can see you. Yeah. All right. Come on back in and pick up where you were. We lost your camera and your
Hello
volume for
there.
some reason.
Ugh,
Oh, and now it's blacked out again.
yeah, what is going on?
I can hear you this time. There
Yeah,
we go. Now I can see you again.
yeah. I don't know what's going on, man.
Talking
Um,
about winning, and the
did
devil
your
doesn't want people to
internet?
win,
Someone
so he's
tried
going
to
to fight
actually
up against
call.
him.
Yeah, someone tried to call me. So let's fix this.
Oh, that's what it is. Somebody's like, Willie, I see you on live. We got to talk to you right now. What you got going on? Like I was saying, winning is what you were created to do. When you come to the race of your life, come to the end, you're going to be the victor. You are going to be the winner of your life. You also get to choose how big or not of a victory that is. Nobody else, nobody else can dictate or say how good your win is other than you. And if you don't win, nobody else will. Hey, Nate, glad to have you here with us. Obi, we're glad you're here as well. Really appreciate it. So,
Yeah,
did we get the phone so that it's not gonna, keep calling through to you now?
yeah. I don't know why people trying to call me right now. But keep
Everybody's like,
talking to them about never stop winning here.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, the whole concept behind Never Stop Winning um, is the concept of learning to win your way. Like you said, you're going to break the tape at the end of your life. Don't race to it because that also means you're at the end of your life, okay? But you're going to be the victor. Now the question becomes, what kind of victory do you want it to be? There's an old phrase that's called a Pyrrhic victory. Now, don't ask me what that's based out of. It's something from back in Roman times or whatever. But it has to do with winning something that's of no consequence. You know, you have the capability to change the world, to make the difference in this world that only you can ever possibly make. And nobody can replace you. Absolutely no one ever can be you or replace you. And yet, you can also choose to just kind of get through life, you know, and you can couch surf and not have a job, and I'm not talking about people who have lost their job. I'm talking about people who intentionally choose to not work, to not succeed, to not win. You can look at yourself as a loser. You can say those things about yourself, but they're not true. You were built and born to win. From the very absolute second you came into existence. I'm talking about conception. You were born to win. From the very first second, you won the race amongst millions that made the only possible absolute way to make you. And even though there was millions of other permutations that could have been you, even though if it had been other people, it wouldn't have been you, in that exact second you happened. You already are the victor. And then we go through life and we don't even live like it. We say things about ourselves losing and being
yeah.
losers and stuff like that. And oh my gosh, I hadn't intended to take over, but because your phone decided, that's what gets me all riled up. So
Yeah.
talk to us more about you and your thoughts on Never Stop Winning.
Oh, never stop winning is all about never stop growing and growing into your best version. As we said earlier, I got cut off due to some technical issues here, and a host of calls coming through, several different ways here. But we're back, so you can hear me good now, Steve. Right? Okay, awesome. All right, yes, it means never stop growing, never stop trying to be better, and being able to be resilient. Resilience is brilliance. These are some of the quotes we use in Never Stop Winning, Volume 1. Win your way and never stop winning. 2.0, keep winning your way. That means be consistent. As John C. Maxwell would say, he said, consistency compounds. Well, I believe consistency multiplies as well, right? The more you do a thing, you build the courage, you build You build the confidence muscles, you build your courage muscles, and as Maya Angelou would often say. And as you keep, doing those reps, you do it every day, a little bit, brick by brick by brick. I think, see, the misconception about winning with some people is that they feel they have to win like you, or win like me, or like her, or like him. And really, it's so personal. Win your way, meaning it win the way that God intended for you to win, and to keep doing that over time. Moments and momentum. It means creating your own momentum, because moments create momentum. Take the UM off. You got the word, for momentum. You got moments, right? And and 2.0 is just like never start winning on steroids, man. Literally, we're talking about things like the agenda to win. Like everybody has an agenda every day, right? You wake up in the morning. Sometimes we set our alarms off the previous night. We write down our itineraries, our to-do lists and things. So winning is intentional. So we win on purpose. We win with the purpose, for a purpose, and that's what we've been conveying. And I love how universal this topic is, Steve. The
I
6 and
agree
12 through
completely.
12th graders, they're able to gravitate to it. If you're 20, 30, 40, 50, we have a wide range of people who endorse this, thing that we're pushing. Never start winning international, right, Steve?
All over the world, every single one of the people was created, built to, meant to win. And it's just a matter of learning to discover what does it mean to win your way and then to keep winning your way. So you
Yeah.
kind of started it out in version 1.0, if you will, and then really just kind of went with it on 2.0. Talk to us about some of the reasons why you had to do a second book.
And that's another amazing, awesome question. That's the question. Really, that's an awesome question. It was something I prayed over, man. Like, there's a lot of spiritual connotation, but it's essentially about personal development, spiritual growth, but mental growth, mindset. I just felt like you could put everything in one book, if you know what I mean, right? And there was just so much that I had to kind of leave out. Some people try to cram everything into one book. It was just the material that God was giving me, and just some things that I had to kind of shelve, during volume one, never start winning volume one. And 2.0 came about, and it just exploded. I think we put Never Start Winning now volume one, number one international bestseller last year, right? I think that was in December after our what was that? The anthology Winning with Love, which was another number one international bestseller with a host of amazing co-authors and best-selling authors, right? Global best-selling authors. And yeah, man. So I just feel like it was this continuation. I put everything that I could in within the space of 12 chapters, right? Really. And the attention span of every reader today, it's a little different. We live in one of the most microwave mindset societies than I've ever seen out of our mind living. Everything is quick. So I didn't want it to be oversaturated. I wanted it to be an easy read, just like this one. And it was just this continuation of information. And I knew I couldn't put it in. And it was this yearning for some people that I ran into who started winning for a little bit, a period, but they didn't keep winning their way. They got distracted. They got distracted, and distractions come with winning. So we'll visit that later. But essentially, that's it, Steve. And seeing the need in the world and our nation, in particularly, and the reason I talked to you about putting the flag with a trophy on there, because we need to be reminded of what winning is, what winning isn't, and yes, as subjective as it is that we win better when we work together than we do apart. It's just a fact. When you
You've been on, yeah, oh yeah, you've been on a whirlwind this last, because you just kind of went over where we were this time last year. This time last year, over Black Friday, I think it was, is when we brought out Winning with Love. you
Yeah.
know, and then a couple weeks later we did, you know, Never Stop Winning 1.0. And it's kind of like putting a flag in the ground, you know, we did most definitely then. But you know, it's then like the whole world was like, oh yeah, okay, you believe in winning? All right, prove it. What if you lose all the time for the next 6, 8, 10, 12 months, right? I mean, and there's been a lot of stuff that came at you over the course of this year, and it would have been really easy. Okay, now, you know, I'm on the inside track. I'm a part of the PME team, you know, so I know some of the, you know, the inside
Yeah.
stuff that you've had to struggle through
Well,
this year, but it would have been easy for you this year to have just been like, yeah, ain't worth it. Okay. You know, I mean, you could have given up, you know, you could have, what was it that allowed you to be able to feel like a winner in the times this past year when maybe even right up to the literal people saying it, you know, people have, you know, been treating you like you were losing or like you were going to lose?
mm, that's a good one. Let me. I guess I'll defend the people right off. No matter what the climate or season is in my life, like within this past year or last two, people for the most part have treated me like a winner, even when I myself, had little, temporary moments where I felt like, oh man, but I had to remind myself of one of the chapters in volume one. Me and you laugh about this all of the time. It's just funny sometimes you get, you find yourself being tempted and tried by your own content, right? And so, guy had to remind me and say, hey, wait a minute now. You wrote a chapter about failing to win. So you fell forward, as John was saying, you fell forward. And I have a whole spiel about becoming best friends with failure because before you can learn to win, you have to go through some degree of failure because failure is not always bad. If you can leverage every moment, whether it be good or bad, those quotes that I'm known for, growing with the flow, resilience is brilliance. And buddy, it has been some turbulent moments, with losing loved ones and America's Next Top Hit Maker. Shouts out to everyone, around the globe and the country who helped us to get to, become a finalist with a song Couldn't Imagine, dedicated to breast cancer awareness, which was amazing. Amazing turnout, amazing support. So the people, I think it's that other fella I had issues with, the one with that they portray to have a pick, pitchfork or whatever, the red horns. So, on a personal note, yeah, I had some moments, man, but I think it's I think that comes with creating songs. Arts, love, business, entertainment is what we do, right? During the finals or right between the semifinals and finals, I lost a cousin who passed away who's very young to breast cancer. Ironically, it was breast cancer. And let me just say, it was a pretty rough moment. Lost another relative as well. I think those were probably the most turbulent moments, during this process. Is oh man, it's so many loved ones that have gone home that I love dearly. Some I couldn't make their funerals because we're so busy doing things and creating and But last month made up for it, man. We packed out Barnes and Noble's book signing. We hear that's not normal. Um, Number one, we couldn't imagine the same single that was in the finals on the pop charts with Lady Gaga. We hit number one, and we're waiting on that plaque to come here soon, Steve, too. And I cried behind that, tears of joy, but sentimental tears because on multiple charts, movies and shakers, at least 2 to 3 different charts, and Michael Jackson was on one of those charts, like on the bestseller, on the bestseller charts, and it's just a crazy thing. I think Taylor Swift was on that one. We hit number one on the pop charts, and that was pretty crazy. But it came with a lot of pain, brother. This is why we say pain is gain. Yes, and there are some things that you know about. Even if I chose to go further or not, you would know. Like just the other turbulence, right? personal, La Familia type of stuff. But God is paramount through it all, man. Um, I just never quit, man. That's what we say, never stop winning. What do I look like telling the world to never stop winning? Means never stop. Don't ever quit. Don't ever give in. Don't ever give up, even if you feel that way, because you're going to have moments, man. But you leverage that moment no matter how ugly it is, how painful it is, and the bad comes with the good, no matter how amazing the success is, and it's ending with a big bang. You can find us on the Los Angeles connection, the LA connection comedy of theater with the good homie, as we would say in Cali, the good buddy, good friend, who trained. I think he did coaching for Matthew, what's his name? Matthew Perry from France, and Will Ferrell, Dolly Parton, done all kinds of crazy things. So I've been taping shows with them every week, even when I was in LA recording new music. But it's always something with the good. You can't really separate. You got to be able to compartmentalize it to a degree, but it always comes with something, right? Some turbulence. Like God never promised us when we take flight, I stay light for the flight, so I give it over to Him, no matter how painful. But He never promised us a turbulence free or a flight with no turbulence, just a safe landing. That's it. That's what never stop winning means.
So true.
You know what I mean?
Well, and the truth of the matter is it's the tough that makes it worth it. If it was easy, everybody'd do it. If being a number one top hit maker, number one best-selling musician, number one author, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And then it would really truly mean nothing. But
That's
you
true.
know, I mean, we know statistically that when it comes to just the writing of a book, pretty much everybody you ever meet either expects to write a book, is wanting to write a book, is in the middle of writing a book,
Yeah.
and yet only about 3% of those people ever actually even put the book out.
Yeah.
Forget about it being on a bestseller list where like about 5% of the ones that come out ever make it anywhere in the top 100 at all. You
Mhm.
know, could say the same thing about your music career. I mean, when we're in elementary school, everybody's in the choir. I mean, whether you can sing or not, everybody's in band and choir and, learning the recorder, and stuff like that. But, as you go through those stages, people, don't make some of those stages. And it's because most of the time, it's not that we couldn't do it, it's that we quit because it's hard, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and we got to go through those hard times in order to get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and most of the time, and I'll just pick on myself, everybody else that wants to identify can this, most of the time I quit, just before the win. That's really, it's like you're running towards home is not the time to sit down and be like, oh man, I'm never going to make it home. You got to go the rest of the way to home plate in order to to score the win.
That's so true. And now look, I can relate, man. To a degree, right when I feel like quitting sometimes, that is definitely. Now I don't necessarily quit because my pet peeve, and I know God programmed me this way, or maybe designed me. I'll say more of design. We'll lose that because God really doesn't program us. But I'll say purpose by design. He put this thing in my nature where, and I was always like this, where my greatest pet peeve is not finishing what I start, no matter what that is. Like it irks me, you know, to not finish it. At some point, I don't care if it takes. It matters not if it takes years, okay, or a few months. That the time frame doesn't matter. It's the whole concept or ideology that I started something, I put energy into it. put my time, put my money and my energy into this, and I didn't follow through, I can't live with that, man. So God did a number on me with that one. I was always like that. No.
And I want everybody to hear that, because that ultimately is the difference between the people who are the winners and the losers. I mean, as far as, and I'm stopping myself using that phrase, because nobody's really the loser, but the people that are
Right.
perceived that way,
Right.
because the only difference between winning and losing is finishing.
Exactly.
It's just purely a matter of, if you can't run anymore, you walk. And if you can't walk anymore, you crawl. And if you get to the place where you can't even crawl, you're laying on your back. And, I mean, I've told this story before. I don't know if I've ever told you this story before, but I've had some medical issues where I've literally collapsed, like couldn't move, couldn't get up, stand up. I mean, we're talking on the ground down there permanently. And literally, the worst time of it, I literally collapsed in a door frame of my house. And it took me about a half an hour to get the rest of the way back inside the door. And about another hour beyond that to get up the 2 steps there's 2 little tiny steps out of my dining room into my kitchen. Only steps in my whole house, right? And, I mean, literally, even though I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk, you roll over on your back and you scooch, you just keep moving. I mean, because what are you going to do? Lay there and let the coyotes eat you? I mean, and that's the secret, as far as I'm concerned, more than anything else, to winning, is you just keep moving. You just do that next thing. What could you do today? I love this phrase. And maybe you even know the Bible verse in it. You know me, I'm great at Bible verses. I'm horrible at references, right? There is one of my favorite verses in the Bible says, maximize while it's called today.
Yes.
Make the most out of the day called today. And I think more than anything, the secret to winning is just being the best you that you could possibly be in the day called today. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow will get here way too quick. But today you can, and whatever your best is, even if your best is, hey, I need to rest up because I've been overdoing it and I need a nap. What can I do? How can I be the best today? How can I, when I'm going through the grocery store, be kind to the cashier? I was at a grocery store. That's why I'm thinking about this one. I was at a grocery store earlier here today when I was driving back to my doctor's appointment. And I could feel the frustration from the nice checker lady. And I just went out of my way, not to do anything, but just to be happy and cheerful and smile, and when the little machine did what little machines do, I just made jokes about it, and had fun. And, and everybody, including the other checker who didn't have somebody, we were all kind of just laughing and joking. And you could feel the energy of the whole place. Not because I did anything amazing. I wasn't preaching Jesus to them and having an altar call, and sprinkling holy oil on them or whatever. I was just happy and grateful and glad, and talk about maximizing today. And to me, if nothing else good happened today, even though, just as a side note, I just got notified that my latest book just became #1 in 3 categories again. You're next. You're next. Yours will be here before the end of today or tomorrow. But but even if that happened, just that, being able to lighten those people's load, even if only for that minute, that's a win.
Exactly.
That's the ultimate version, as far as I'm concerned, of never stop winning.
That's it.
Speaking of your book and it becoming #1, okay, let's give everybody the link, because they could get it today for free. They could go and get the ebook. They could get it for free. Free today. Yeah. So if you could only pick one piece, and I know this isn't fair, but if you could only pick one piece out of Never Stop Winning 2.0, what is your favorite part of of NSW 2.0 today.
I love what you're saying about today. I was thinking about Eleanor Roosevelt, who said yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, and today's the present. And it's the power of now that we talk about. You take the word now, you got one. So when you maximize now, there you go. Now in terms of 2.0, right? Oh man, that's a great question. I have a lot of favorite, highlights and nuances and quotations and slogans, but I think it's the chapter about winning through trauma because we live in a very um, traumatic society, and when it's undealt with, you have to show people how to leverage that, and it varies for every or each individual who has it. It's a healing process, but I think oh man, I think that's going to blow the readers away when I really talk about those dynamics because you're talking to a guy right here. You're looking at a guy right here who's dealt with trauma since he was a little boy. Unfortunate circumstances happening to people without giving away the juice of the book. It would be winning through trauma.
I
Yeah,
love that. Yeah. We can't control other people's actions.
exactly.
And unfortunately, as tough as this is to take in, the same right that we have to do good or bad, everybody else has too. And sometimes people choose to do the worst awful things. And that's going to leave scars on the people like us that they do it to.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but there can be a win even out of those worst of things. That isn't in any way to diminish how horrible those situations that some people have gone through. But
so true.
sometimes the greatest wins come out of the even just living through the worst of stuff.
Absolutely, no
Yeah.
doubt. That's so true. And it's really the core and foundational pieces of never stop winning. It's so much that has transpired, over my lifetime or lifespan, and then we've been able to leverage those moments, and learn how to properly heal from it and take it one day at a time, and yeah, man, you know, some of the greatest storms and unfortunate circumstances gives us the drive to record. It's probably the same reason, one of the reasons rather, you know, we can go in a booth and, you know, freestyle songs from, we don't have to memorize anything, like write it down or bullet points, these number ones we're putting out, right? It's probably one of those reasons, like it's the juice, it's the fuel. Some will call it venom, but I don't think it's that. I just think it's that cross that we all have to bear. And, there's a Bible verse that I do love that says, I reckon that the sufferings of this present time, whatever that is not worthy to the glory that shall be revealed in us, right? There's some glory to our story, and his glory changed my story. And then that gave me redemption in those rough moments. And like you say, you can't control what other people do to you, but let's just say I'm grateful. I don't think I would change any of it because it gives us this certain type of energy and rawness and realness, right? And this to just go hard in the paint, as we would say, you know, and just keep flying. Eagles have to they soar only when the winds blow, right? So we soar with the winds, you know. And when we say winds, we're talking hurricane type of winds, tornado type of winds, and I've been in crazy tornadoes where seven cones all around me and stuff, and somebody died not long, far away. And sometimes life can become that way to certain people, metaphorically speaking, and you need that. I don't question. Sometimes we get to that point where it gets so excruciating, where you're like, God, what is going on here? But He's working it out for you good. This is where we came up with those quotes: pain is gain. Only if you allow it to be. Because pain can has buried many people from where I come from. And it almost buried me back in the day. If I hadn't gotten a hold of it, it's definitely got its paramount. But had I not had that epiphany, that spiritual awakening, and that mind shift, which means to shift the mind and that mindset and the reset, keep resetting. And I think we're always doing that, Steve. That's what never start winning means. We're ever resetting. It's like it's constant resets and shifts. And I believe that everything rises and falls on for the mindset. On the mindset, it really depends, on one's mind. Some people can't see past it, and that's what we're hoping to accomplish more than any type of plaque or ranking or position with the book, which we know it will do well because God is behind it and the people support us. But I think more importantly, I'm more excited about the impact that I know it's going to have. Like I remember the lady, I don't remember who she was, one of your editors. I actually caught that in the email, and she was talking to you, and she said, "Steve, I'm sorry, blah blah blah. I got the edits to you, and this book is going to change a lot of lives." That is what really stuck out to me more than saying, "Oh, this is a great book," or like, "That's cool." There's a whole bunch of great books that does nothing for people other than, "Oh, that's a nice book to read."
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up. By the way, thank you, Tammy. If you happen to be listening, her name was Tammy.
That's
Um,
it.
yeah, it's a perfect segue into the last little piece I wanted to talk about here before we end. And that's that this book, besides having the flag and the medal on it, is dedicated to our veterans. I don't think you knew this. Tammy is a veteran.
Wow.
Yeah, so the editor that edited the book is actually a veteran and works for an organization that works with veterans, helping them overcome PTSD and stuff. So
Mm, yes.
it's cool that you brought that up right at this time. So, because we are so grateful for our veterans. And although we're, about a week beyond Veterans Day, or 2 weeks, I guess now,
Yeah, this was
um,
great. Yeah, that was
yeah, about 10 days ago or something like that. So
a lot.
so grateful for all that they've done for our country, and they are definitely winners. Absolutely, every single last one of them. We
That's awesome.
appreciate all of you.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, they need to be
All
recognized.
right,
More appreciated for sure.
you can get Never Stop Winning. Keep winning your way. You can get it for free today. I've dropped the link a couple of times. Before I let you go, Willie, give us just some last words of encouragement, how we can, each one of us individually, never stop winning.
Okay, so I would first like to say, thank you for having me on before I go here, and I won't make this a long, outro. But I would say to each and every one of you, it's just, don't be too hard on yourself. I think sometimes life can get so serious. It can be so serious that take some time to laugh. Laughter is good for the soul, the mind, the will, and the emotions. So take some time to appreciate not just people. That's almost cliche. You're supposed to appreciate your neighbor and appreciate what people have done for you. But won't you and thank God and all that great stuff ultimately, obviously. But how many times do we sit down to take the time out to say, "Hey, you may not be perfect, man, or sister, or whatever you are, right? My brother, my sister, but you are winning because you didn't give up and you're doing a good job. Take some time to appreciate who you are and don't be so rough on yourself. Don't down yourself. I think that's something that's going on with a lot of people. They're way too serious towards themselves. They don't know how to have fun. They don't know how to enjoy life while they're here. This is temporary. This is third dimension. This is 3D. And we all have an expiration date here. So I would say take advantage of each breath that you're blessed to have. Okay. Someone didn't wake up this morning. Time is opportunity. Take the opportunity to win, and to win because you're winning your way, and you're doing better, even if that's a little bit. Don't be too rough on yourself. Loosen up a little, okay, and have some fun while you're creating your best version of you. Okay, that's what I was. Start winning, keep winning your way.
I love that. Never stop winning. Keep winning your way. Get Never Stop Winning 2.0. Get it today for free. Like you said, we put the link out there. Willie, thanks so much. It's always great to have you on the show. We should do this like once a week or every other day or whatever. But you
I'll make
know,
buddy.
yeah, look
Ready.
forward to it. Thanks so much for being here with us, and thank you everybody for the time you took listening in. And remember to never stop winning. Thanks,
Never
Willie.
stop winning. Keep winning your way. Thanks for having me, buddy.